皆さん、こんにちは。今日は中国深センのカンファレンスに来ています。で、おなじみのアレイダさんにインタビューしたいと思います。Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Kenichi, for the opportunity. It's always amazing to be able to talk to you.
So let's do a short interview. So I interviewed you this past March at the SEO conferences in Sydney, right?
Yes.
So since then, what changes have you noticed, particularly regarding AI search?
Yes, of course, we have seen that in the last few months and even in the last few weeks. Everything is changing so fast. Google has continued to move forward with the integration of AI features, AI mode within the, let's say, to integrate it more to the main SERPs, traditional SERPs. And it's clear that it's shifting, right? It's clear that they want to make the move to be smooth, to align with user preferences, that it doesn't disrupt the user journey, and that these are actually helpful new additions, let's say, to the way that people search. But it's obvious that it's shifting very fast, and actually it was 2 days ago that it was announced that in the US, Google is already integrating Gemini in Chrome on one hand, and they already pre-announced that in not such a long time, they will also integrate AI mode as the main way of search in the Chrome search browser as well. So yes, we can expect this to even shift much faster as well.
So what is your impression about AI mode?
Well, the thing is, and this is very funny, right? I'm based usually in Spain, in the EU, which is one of the countries where Google hasn't yet released AI mode. I imagine that it's because of all of this privacy, additional restrictions that Google has in the EU, unfortunately. But yes, I have been able to test it as well. I use VPN and travel a lot as well. And I believe that, well, Google is trying as much as possible, and I think that in a good way, to create an LLM that is also very connected with the search type of need of the user. We know that LLMs are being used for different type of needs. It was 2 or 3 days ago that OpenAI released this major study, research that they did with the different type of uses of ChatGPT. And we can see that people are searching that, are using that not only to search, but also for tasks, to do things, task or oriented queries, and to fulfill that type of need that hasn't been fulfilled by traditional search engines in the past, right? Because it was not the right interface for it. And then also for ideation, right, as a companionship to ask for advice. It was actually very sad. I don't know if you saw, like a couple of months ago or so, when the new GPT model was released, some people complaining because they lost the history, and some people saying I lost my best friend, which is unfortunate, but it is a reality, right? So I believe that Google is trying to position themselves with AI mode to be this type of LLM that fulfills the search need well. Then with Gemini, they can fulfill also the task-oriented, the do, and the ideation. But with AI mode, it's very focused, and I can see how the format and the answers are much more focused on giving more prominence, more visibility to some features, to links, to continue endorsing the web and referring traffic, to be this bridge that actually provides a good initial answer that can fulfill or not the user needs, but serves well to refer to continue their journey in many different ways, right? So I think that their job in that scenario is great. I also believe, and I know that a lot of people have talked about how ChatGPT disrupted and had the first player advantage as well in this race, and it's true. I believe that the one that will be the winner eventually will be Google, because of all of the platform, the mode that they had, the integration with the run index. But did you see how it was like a month ago, 3-4 weeks ago, that there was information that this report saying, no, we have found out that ChatGPT is actually using scraping services in order to use the results from Google and the wrong answers, and it's something that I had already tested as well as other SEOs, not only me, right? And we had already seen. It's like, surprise, Google has a major advantage. We complain, and we tend to complain with Google because of the spam issues and challenges, and sometimes how long they take to index things. But the reality is that they have the most advanced search engine out there, and that is a major advantage in order to be able to fulfill better that need of the search purpose, discovery purpose of LLMs as a new interface for a user.
So let's talk about scraping. So there's a speculation that ChatGPT scrapes Google search results. Actually, in fact, you confirmed that this through your own test. Could you explain what happened?
So so this is what happened. I actually published a page, new page. That page hadn't been submitted to Bing, hadn't been submitted initially to Google. So nothing was generated about it when I was explicitly asking about that particular page in ChatGPT. So pushing pretty much ChatGPT to actually go and grab the page, right, and see how it behaved, right, or see what it had about the page. Then little by little, I started submitting the page to Google, to Bing. The page wasn't yet indexed by Bing, but it had been indexed by Google when ChatGPT started to release information in their answers about the page. So how come the page is not yet indexed in Bing, but yes in Google? And all of a sudden, ChatGPT knows about the page. And then the most important bit, I believe, at the end was that the information that ChatGPT released about the page was not the full information in the main content, but the information that when asking the LLM, they disclosed it that they took it from the snippet in an index. And the snippet, surprise, surprise, the description, let's say this, it was the title, and what you would assume is the description that is shown in the SERPs. The description that was being shown in ChatGPT as an answer was not the meta description that I had added in the page, but the written description that Google was showing in their SERPs. So of course it was obvious to me at that point that content was being brought from Google SERPs, not from the page itself directly, because that was not my meta description, but the text that ChatGPT was showing was the actual written description from Google for their SERPs. So yes, it was what it was. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So next question is, have any of your clients experienced a negative impact from AI overviews?
Unfortunately, I have had clients that, especially in the SaaS sector, I usually work with e-commerce marketplaces and the SaaS players, and especially, I believe that it was has been a couple of SaaS players that were leveraging a lot broader how-tos, informational type of content for their top of the funnel type of content, right? Unfortunately, but funnily enough, there has been an impact from a traffic standpoint, not necessarily so much from a conversion standpoint. So there's that. Now they are in the lucky side of those that have been affected. There are also players that, thankfully, I don't work with publishers, right? But I know that, well, there's a whole industry that actually makes money out of the impressions and visits that they get from users. So they are the ones that are not only necessarily affected by traffic, but actual revenue because of the business model, right? So thankfully, SaaS marketplaces, e-commerce, even if they're impacting traffic for those type of pages might exist, the impact on revenue ultimately is not necessarily that high because these are not necessarily the pages that end up generating direct revenue, but are helpful from an awareness standpoint at the beginning of the user journey, right? That doesn't mean, though, that you shouldn't invest in these type of pages because I have seen around a lot of people say, oh, it's not worthy to invest in informational content anymore because of AI overviews, LLMs. I want to highlight that that might be the case if your informational content is very generic, is not connected with your business, and depending on what's your expectation out of that informational content. If your informational content is very connected with your unique selling proposition, showcasing the attributes of your products or services, showing examples like white papers, use cases, success stories, comparisons of your features versus your competitors. If you have just generated content, of course you want it to continue optimizing it, aligning it with your brand, with your optimizations efforts to make the most out of it, and that is helpful and has a positive role into influencing your citations in LLM answers as well. So I will say that be careful by not investing at all in informational content because it can backlash because this is the type of content that LLMs will end up citing a lot on one hand, and even if direct traffic might not come necessarily from it, if it is very heavily connected with your brand, with your product, it will end up having a positive impact later on in the journey when the user ends up making their actual decision to buy your type of products or service because they have already they can already recognize your brand from the initial answer as an entity, as an authority in the field that should be respected, that is showcase and provides reliable answers in that particular sector. Yeah.
So building an authority as an entity is crucial, right?
100%.
I see.
100%.
So which types of sites do you expect will benefit from AI search in the long run?
The ones that actually have a real direct product that they provide to their customers. Product, tangible product or service. But I believe that those that unfortunately are the ones that are suffering or will end up suffering the most are the middlemen. Like affiliates, for example, or those that rely on pure traffic as a business model, like magazines or newspapers, for example, unfortunately. Because that a lot of those needs will be directly fulfilled in the answers of LLMs directly.
So having our own services, a product is crucial, right?
It's crucial, as well as establishing the brand of them, so they can be easily recognized and referred.
Makes sense. Okay, this is the last question. AEO, GEO, or LLMO, and other variants have become buzzwords lately. What are your thoughts about them?
Well, I mean, this is something that I covered in the presentation that I did yesterday here at the conference. And realistically, I believe that the problem or challenge is, why do we need to change the name of SEO as a discipline if it's about optimizing for whatever platform that is used for search purposes, right? It has been like that, like SEO for TikTok, SEO for YouTube, and it hasn't been rebranded because it's just SEO for YouTube, not for Google. So now that we are using other platforms like LLMs, why should we call it differently? So I understand that there's a need here to try to differentiate it in order to be able to get buy-in by decision makers, because they are being bombarded at the time with all of these AI news, AI as the shiny new thing. So all of a sudden they have budget for AI that they never had for SEO, even if, surprise, surprise, 80% of their traffic and their revenue is coming from SEO, right? So we want to make the most out of it. I understand it. So I would say, speak the language of your customers, of decision makers. If they are calling it in a certain way, call it in a certain way. Okay, AI search optimization or AIO, which, by the way, half of what we are doing with SEO also applies, but we need to also shift certain things to be also applicable and to have also the resources to monitor what's going on and to identify and assess for that particular additional platform. But the principles remain, and yes, we want that budget. Let's do GEO, AIO, whatever you want to call it, as an expansion of our SEO initiative. It's included within it. I did the SEO FOMO AI search optimization survey, and in the answer of the survey, one of the questions of the survey was exactly that: how are your clients or decision makers calling the optimizations in LLMs? And most said that it was AI search optimization, which makes sense. So I call it by default AI search optimization. If a client comes and calls it GEO or AIO, whatever, I say, yeah, AIO, which is AI search optimization, and also SEO for AI platforms. Yeah, let's do it like this. We can establish a roadmap. We can start assessing, identifying opportunities, needs, performance, and based on that, prioritize accordingly, and so on. So I believe that it's also up to us of how we want to shift and influence the conversation and evangelization that we do about it as well.
Really makes sense. All right, that's all. Thank you for coming, and your insights is always super helpful.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. It has been a delight as usual to talk with you, Kenichi. Hopefully more in the future in Tokyo or elsewhere in the world.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.